Atlantic Television Network, welcome to Global News. First, the highlights. And urges youth to strive for innovations in Akwa Ibom. Deputy Speaker demands workable constitution for Nigerians. ASU begins two-week warning strike on Monday. Germany, EU unveil plan to tackle gas flaring in Nigeria. Trump, Al-Sisi to chair Gaza Peace Summit in Egypt. Messi leads goal-scoring chart. Young demand empathy for celebrities. Akwa Ibom State Governor Umo Eno has charged youths in the state to always strive for innovations to enhance the spirit behind the Arise agenda's push for empowerment. Eno gave the charge while speaking at the visual conference and award night organized by his chief photographer, Idara Idiakpan, in Governor Senator Akon Aya Kenyin. Eno charged the youths to stop nourishing entitlement culture and look inwards to fix themselves where services are needed for better rewards. Earlier, the Special Assistant in Chief Photographer to the Governor, Idara Idiakpan, described the award night as a celebration of creativity, purpose, and the power of a frame to tell a story, evoke emotion, and capture the beauty of the world. A total of 587 nominations across 15 categories from photography across the country were received, adding that each entry is a passion and dedication of artists who saw the extraordinary in the ordinary. The event was graced by celebrated photographers, including Kelechi Amadiobi, Emmanuel Oyeleke, Bayo Omoboriowo, and a host of others. Imo State Governor Hope Uzodinma says the federal government is yet to refund the funds spent by his administration on the rehabilitation and reconstruction of key federal roads within the state. The governor made the disclosure during an expanded meeting of the Imo State Executive Council, where he gave an extensive update on his administration's developmental strides and outlined new policy initiatives. The meeting, which brought together commissioners, aides, local government chairmen, and other stakeholders, was aimed at reviewing the state's progress and addressing critical governance issues. A statement signed by the governor's senior special advisor on Ambrose Nwaogugu Uzodinma said his administration has taken on major road projects traditionally under the purview of the federal government, and his decision to embark on the reconstruction of federal roads was driven by the urgent need to ease movement, attract investment, and improve the living conditions of Imo residents. The governor also unveiled plans to launch a 24-hour power supply in Owerri by November 2025, adding that the initiative would later be extended to Olu, Okigwe, and Mbise, and also aligns with his administration's vision to create a more business-friendly and economically active environment. Uzodinma reiterated that his government remains focused on good governance, youth empowerment, infrastructure renewal, and economic stability, stressing that all his policies are aimed at building a sustainable and prosperous future for the people of Imo State. Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Charles Soludo has stressed on the need for comprehensive educational reforms in Nigeria. He disclosed this during the inauguration of newly renovated classrooms blocks at St. Jude Secondary School, Ihiala, in Ihiala local government area. The governor, an educationist and former university lecturer, highlighted the significance of a partnership between government, the public, the private sector, and the communities to revamp the education sector, saying it is critical for driving development forward. The governor also addressed the challenges faced by the public education system upon his assumption of office, highlighting his administration's commitment to the public-private community partnership (PPCP) policy aimed at revitalizing the state's educational landscape. He asserted that education can serve as a powerful tool to break socio-economic barriers and called on public-spirited individuals and organizations to prioritize education and health, reinforcing that collective effort is essential for fostering a more equitable and just society. Ondo State Governor Lucky Aiyedatiwa has expressed the readiness of his administration to collaborate with the newly created Southwest Development Commission, adding that the collaboration would advance infrastructural renewal, industrialization, and youth empowerment across the state. The governor, who disclosed this at a reception in honor of the state's representative in the commission at Ode Aye in the Okitu Pupa local government area of the state, Aiyedatiwa, who commended President Bola Tinubu for establishing the Southwest Development Commission, expressed optimism that the commission would bridge developmental gaps in the Southwest and unlock its economic potential. He said the creation of the Southwest Development Commission is a laudable step by the federal government to tackle developmental disparities, harness regional potential, and promote sustainable growth, adding that the commission will serve as a veritable tool for economic revitalization, infrastructure renewal, and social transformation in the region. The governor said the state would work closely with the Southwest Development Commission and other federal institutions to ensure that the people benefit maximally from the ongoing and future developmental projects. Earlier in his remarks, Adewinle said the Southwest Development Commission was created to promote regional development by focusing on education, infrastructure, welfare, and economic empowerment, describing it as a platform that would reposition the Southwest for sustainable growth, as well as develop infrastructure, reducing poverty, creating jobs, and supporting key projects that better integrate the 6 states in the region. Troops of 2 Division Sector 3 Operation Pansan Yama have rescued 3 more kidnapped victims from the Babanla forest in Kwara State as the Nigerian Army intensifies its offensive against bandits terrorizing communities in the state. According to a statement on Sunday by the Acting Assistant Director of Army Public Relations 22, Armored Brigade, Ilori, Captain Stephen Wankwo, the victims were rescued during coordinated operations on Saturday following credible intelligence about the movements of the kidnappers in the area. Wankwo said troops deployed at the patrol-based Babanla stormed the suspected bandit hideout and successfully rescued Oluwa Busayo Taiwo, age 25, and her 3-year-old son Taiwo Irayomide, who were abducted at Okeode on September 28, 2025, adding that the rescued victims are currently receiving first aid treatment at the patrol-based sick bay and will be reunited with their family members in due course. In a separate operation in the same day, troops on routine patrol along a known bandit route also rescued Mr. Mohammed Sani, a 40-year-old local tea seller from the Karima community, and the bandits reportedly fled upon sighting the patrol team, abandoning the victim, who was found in a pool of blood. The commander, 22 Armored Brigade, Brigadier General Ezra Barkins, commended the troops for their bravery and swift response, assuring that the Nigerian Army would sustain its operations to completely flush out criminal elements from the states. Road crash on the Obajana-Lokoja Highway has claimed the lives of 10 people and left 11 others injured. Federal Road Safety Corps said the accidents, which occurred near Apamaru, involved the white Toyota Hiace bus carrying 21 male passengers when it reportedly lost control due to excessive speeding and wrongful overtaking. Preliminary investigations by FRSC officers confirmed that the driver was attempting to overtake another vehicle when he lost control, leading to the fatal crash. According to a statement signed by the Corps spokesperson Olusegun Ogunbemide, all the victims died on the spot, while 11 others sustained serious injuries, including deep cuts, fractures, and bruises, adding that the deceased have been handed over to their families for burial in accordance with Islamic rites, coordinated through the Sarakin Hausawa or Bajana. In the wake of the tragedy, Corps Marshal Shehu Mohammed expressed deep sorrow and issued a strong call for increased passenger vigilance, especially during night journeys, and further implores passengers to speak out and caution drivers whose actions endanger lives, stressing that silence in the face of recklessness is complicity in tragedy. He reiterated the dangers associated with night travel and urged commercial drivers to strictly adhere to safety regulations. Operatives of the Federal Capital Territory, FCT, Police Command have arrested 4 suspects involved in one-chance robbery and attempted kidnapping in Abuja. SP Josephine Ade, the FCT Police Public Relations Officer who disclosed this in a statement on Sunday, said the command on October 8 received a report at Live Camp Police Station that the victim had called in distress alleging that she had been abducted by suspected criminals who demanded a ransom of 1 million naira for her release. And upon receipt of the report, police operatives of the command attached to Life Camp Division immediately swung into action. The statement said 2 victims were rescued during the operation, while one of them, who sustained multiple stab wounds inflicted by the suspect, was promptly rushed to Gwarimpa General Hospital, where he is currently receiving medical treatment. She identified the suspect as Solomon Tanko, Samuel Audu Chigozie, Joseph and Emmanuel Chidebere. The FCT police spokesperson said investigation revealed that the suspects have been involved in a series of one-chance robberies around the Banex and Kado areas, and also confessed to have been using a vehicle with tinted windows to deceive unsuspecting passengers. Exhibits recovered from the suspects include 15 international passports, 2 sharp daggers, 2 cutlasses, blood-stained documents, 4 mobile phones, 2 hammers and 3 barrels, adding that the suspect will be charged to court upon the conclusion of investigations. 52-year-old businessman Ejiofor Godwin Emeka has been arrested by operatives of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport, Kano, after excreting a total of 127 wraps of cocaine concealed in his private part and stomach. A statement by Femi Babafemi, Director of Media and Advocacy at NDLEA Headquarters Abuja, said Ejiofor, who operates boutiques in Lagos and Onitsha, Anambra States, was apprehended upon his arrival from Bangkok, Thailand, via Ethiopian Airlines flight, and following credible intelligence, a body scan confirmed he had ingested illicit drugs and concealed some in his private parts. NDLEA said 58 wraps of cocaine were first recovered from his pants before he was placed under excretion observation, during which he excreted 69 additional wraps in 7 rounds, bringing the total of 127 wraps weighing 1,388 kilograms. Meanwhile, NDLEA operatives also intercepted 3 consignments of illicit drugs bound from the United Kingdom at a courier company in Lagos and seized 1.74 kilograms of methamphetamine hidden in glass ceramics, 114 grams and 168 grams of pentazocine and tramadol injections, and 48 grams of tramadol capsules concealed in vitamin C containers, as well as others. NDLEA operatives arrested a freight agent and a cab driver linked to the shipment and later apprehended the mastermind, 46-year-old Samuel Omoriyi, alias Yellow, at the Igbo market, and the same day, Italy-based businessman Ene Hizena Augustine Oyimwen was arrested for attempting to export 3,700 pills of tramadol, 225 milligram and 2,600 tablets of tapentadol, 200 milligram hidden in food items to Italy, and for the claim he was trafficking the drugs for another person for a fee of 945 euros. Despite the suspension of the strike action by the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria, fuel scarcity continues to paralyze activities in Sokoto, leaving motorists stranded and transport fares skyrocketing across the metropolis. Checks reveal that most stations remain under lock and key, while the fuel dispensing fuel sold at exorbitant prices ranging between 960 naira and 970 naira per litre, while a 4-litre gallon sells for 6,000 naira, forcing many motorists to abandon their vehicles and resort to commercial tricycles and motorcycles. Expressing frustration over the situation, a motorist, Malam Abba Umar, described the attitude of some petrol marketers as wicked and exploitative, accusing them of hoarding fuel to create artificial scarcity. Residents have called on the Sokoto State Government and the Department of Petroleum Resources to take immediate steps to address the crisis and compel marketers to resume normal operations. Abdulaziz, Senior Special Assistant, Print Media to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has downplayed talks about former President Goodluck Jonathan making a political comeback, saying there is nothing to fear if he decides to contest again. Abdulaziz said Jonathan's previous defeat as a sitting president shows he poses no political threat and insisted that Jonathan's possible return does not bother anyone, including President Bola Tinubu, and also cautioned Jonathan against allowing himself to be misled by people, urging him to re-enter the race. Abdulaziz warned that some people actually want to mislead Jonathan because of their selfish aggrandizement. Deputy Speaker of the Former Vice President Atiku Abubakar has expressed concerns that young Nigerians are losing hope in the country and feels deeply sad over how young Nigerians are lamenting over hardship, fraudulent elections and bad governance. Posting on his Facebook page, the former Vice President told the youths that the change they desire cannot be attained by voter apathy, adding that 25% to 30% voter turnout in every election cycle is not encouraging. He also said the change Nigerians desire cannot be attained by voter apathy and that 25% to 30% voter turnout in every election cycle is not encouraging, and also expressed a huge difference by influencing massive participation in 2027. Labour Party has dismissed speculations that its 2027 presidential candidate Peter Obi could step down for any political coalition or rival aspirant, saying such a move would amount to betraying the hope of millions of Nigerians seeking change. Reacting to ongoing debates over possible opposition alignments ahead of the next general election, the party's interim national publicity secretary, Tony Akeni, said withdrawing Obi from the race is to take away 90% of the hope of Nigerians for redemption and a new beginning. Akeni said neither Obi nor the Obedient Movement would surrender their presidential bid, while appealing to former Vice President Atiku Abubakar to prove his love for the country by doing the right thing and giving Peter Obi a chance in 2027. Also speaking, the national coordinator of the Obedience Movement worldwide, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, reaffirmed that the 2027 presidency should remain in the South under Nigeria's informal rotational arrangements. Chairman of the People's Democratic Party's Governors Forum and Bauchi State Governor Bala Mohammed said governors and other PDP members who recently defected to the All Progressives Congress are not finding things easy politically after their defection. Speaking after the inauguration of the PDP Convention Communication Subcommittee in Abuja, Mohammed said PDP governors are working quietly to keep the party united ahead of the 2027 elections. The Bauchi governor, who chairs the committee, said the association of leaders like former President Goodluck Jonathan and the 2023 Labour Party presidential candidate Peter Obi with the PDP reflects Nigerians' continued interest in the party, adding that in recent months, key political figures have joined the African Democratic Congress-led opposition coalition ahead of the 2027 elections, including the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar, ex-Senate President David Mark, and former presidential aspirant Dele Momodu. Similarly, several PDP leaders have defected to the ruling APC, among them Akwa Ibom Governor Omo Eno, Delta Governor Sheriff Oborowori, and the party's 2023 vice presidential candidate Ifeanyi Okowa. Reacting, the Bauchi governor expressed concern over the growing number of party leaders defecting to the APC, adding that most of the measurable achievements by the federal government were done by PDP regimes, and urged those planning to leave the party to do so peacefully without tarnishing its image, adding that their exit would open doors for capable Nigerians to join. Ex-Vice President Atiku Abubakar has accused President Bola Tinubu of abusing the presidential power of mercy by granting pardons and clemency to 175 people, saying the move undermines the sanctity of justice and risks encouraging lawlessness. A statement via his X handle on Sunday, Atiku said the prerogative of mercy is meant to temper justice with compassion, but had been trivialized by the latest round of pardons, adding that Tinubu on Thursday granted presidential pardons to 175 persons, including the late nationalist Herbert Macaulay. the late Major General Maman Batsa, and Miriam Sander, who was sentenced to death for murdering her husband. Presenting the full list of beneficiaries in a statement by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said the decision followed recommendations by the Presidential Advisory Committee on the Prerogative of Mercy, chaired by the Attorney General of the Federation and Minister of Justice, Lateef Fagbemi, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. The pardon also includes presidential clemency, which frees people convicted of offences ranging from homicide, illegal mining to fraud, while Atiku criticized the inclusion of people convicted of serious offences, saying the clemency list weakens public faith in the criminal justice system and emboldens criminality. He argued that clemency must not be allowed to become complicit with crime and diminish justice, and singled out the number of drug-related convictions among those pardoned, saying the decision was particularly troubling given the country's ongoing fight against narcotics and youth vulnerability, stressing that there is therefore no surprise that the Tinubu-led administration will continue to demonstrate a worrying tolerance for individuals associated with criminal enterprise. Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project have called on the new chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Joash Amopitan, Senior Advocate of Nigeria, to demonstrate a firm commitment to tackle electoral offences in Nigeria. A statement signed by its Deputy Director, Kolawole Oluwadare, Sarab urged Amopitan to ensure that INEC, under his leadership, would not tolerate electoral crimes and warned that the failure to address the culture of impunity would embolden political actors to continue undermining Nigeria's democracy. This is coming after National Council of State unanimously approved the appointment of Amopitan as the new chairman of INEC after President Bola Tinubu presented Amopitan's name to the council during its meeting at the presidential villa, Abuja, and the appointment follows the exit of Professor Mahmood Yakubu, who completed his one-year tenure in October 2025. The group lamented that influential politicians were rarely held accountable for electoral offences. It also noted that serious irregularities, including violence and vote buying, had marred elections conducted since 2015, adding that credible elections could not be achieved without accountability and justice for electoral crimes. According to Serap, protecting the sanctity of the ballot was central to democracy, adding that it would consider legal action should INEC fail to act on its recommendations, and further decried the persistent failure of INEC to prosecute offenders, adding that the trend was damaging to democracy, and also described the 2027 general and off-cycle elections as pivotal movements for Nigeria's democratic stability. Serap further said accountability and justice would deepen democracy and enhance the credibility of elections, urging Amopitan to take transparent steps to restore faith in the Commission, and also reminded the INEC leadership that electoral offences contravene both Nigerian laws and international standards, while citing relevant constitutional and legal provisions supporting its position. Founder of the new Nigeria People's Party, Dr. Boniface Anir Bonam, has expressed support for President Bola Tinubu's choice of Professor Joash Amopitan as INEC chairman. Anir Bonam spoke against the background of controversies surrounding Amopitan's appointment on Sunday in Lagos, that the National Council of State on October 7 approved the appointment of Amopitan to take over from Professor Mahmood Yakubu as INEC chairman. The appointment is awaiting confirmation by the Senate, and according to Anir Bonam, Amopitan already has his work cut out for him and should hit the ground running as soon as his appointment is confirmed. According to Anir Bonam, President Tinubu and the Federal Executive Council members must have seen Amopitan's capacity before nominating him, stressing that the president is truly committed to righting the wrongs in Nigeria and maybe starting from INEC. According to Anir Bonam, unattended matters, especially disobedience to court judgments, should be cleared forthwith by the new INEC boss once confirmed. Members of the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, will begin a 2-week warning strike on Monday, and this follows the expiration of the 2-week ultimatum they gave the federal government to meet their lingering demands, despite the ultimatum ending on Sunday night. the federal government is yet to issue any public comment on the imminent industrial action, and ASUU had directed its branches to prepare for a warning strike. And the latest standoff between the university lecturers and the federal government comes despite ongoing negotiations at averting another round of industrial action in the nation's tertiary institutions. This is coming after the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, disclosed in Abuja that the government had entered the final phase of talks with ASUU and other unions to resolve lingering disputes over welfare funding and the implementation of the 2009 ASUU-FGN agreement, adding that the Tinubu administration had already made significant progress with the release of 50 billion naira for the payment of earned academic allowances, while another 150 billion naira had been captured in the 2025 budget for needs assessment to be disbursed in 3 tranches. He said promotion areas and other outstanding allowances, including teaching and wage awards, had been addressed, while remaining obligations would be cleared by 2026, and also reiterated the government's commitment to sustainable peace in the education sector, while also appealing to the unions to exercise patience and embrace dialogue instead of resorting to strikes. But ASUU President Professor Chris Pewona criticized the Ministry of Education for what he described as its habitual delay in addressing critical issues affecting university lecturers, stressing that there will be a warning strike unless something substantial comes out from the government. Academic staff public universities, revealing that no fewer than 309 resigned abroad. The ASUU Zonal Chairman for Sokoto, Zamfara and Katsina States, Professor Abubakar Sabo, who disclosed this on Saturday during a organized by the ASUU Usmanu Danfodiyo University Sokoto branch at the institution's city campus, said the figure represented a growing intellectual hemorrhage that threatens the survival of public universities, as many scholars are relocating to the United Kingdom, Saudi Arabia, Cameroon, and other countries. He warned that the ASUU may soon embark on a 2-week warning strike if the federal government continues to ignore the union's demands on funding, earned allowances, and improved working conditions, and also accused the federal government of frustrating negotiations, saying that despite the submission of the Yayale Ahmed Committee report in January 2025, no tangible action has been taken. He also said ASUU's demands include better remuneration, implementation of previously signed agreements, respect for university autonomy, and the provision of adequate funding to restore standards in the education sector. Earlier, ASUU Udu's chairperson, Professor Mohammed Al-Mustafa, said the town hall was conveyed to alert Nigerians to deepening riots in the university system and the government's failure to honor its commitments, adding that FG and ASUU have a history of agreements, including the 2009 FGN ASUU agreement, 2020 Memorandum of Action, and the union alleges have been repeatedly ignored or only partially implemented by the government. ASUU has embarked on numerous prolonged strikes over the decades, the most recent major one being the 8-month strike in 2022. And these strikes had paralyzed the academic calendar used by ASUU as its primary leverage to force government action. We'll go on a short break now, and when we return, we will continue with the rest of the stories. Please stay with us.
These are exciting times for broadcasting in Africa. The National Broadcasting Commission is set to host the 14th Biennial Conference and Exhibition of African Broadcasters, Africast 2025 in Lagos, Nigeria. Participants will experience a week of world-class expositions showcasing the very best in creativity, innovation, and cutting-edge broadcasting technological advancement and trends in the global broadcast media ecosystem. Theme: Navigating the Digital Surge, Building a Resilient Africa Media Ecosystem for the Future. Date, Monday, October 20th to Friday, October 24th, 2025. Venue, Balmoral Convention Center, Sheraton, Ikeja, Lagos, Nigeria. Time, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. daily. Visit www.africastexpo.com or email info@nbc.gov.ng. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer, Management.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. Now to the rest of our stories. Federal government has issued a 30-day ultimatum to all tertiary institutions across the country to fully utilize their unassessed and unspent education intervention funds or risk losing them. Minister of Education Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa gave the directive during a strategic meeting with vice chancellors, rectors, provosts, bosses and procurement officers held in Abuja, and warned that the era of idle allocations in the education sector was over, describing the failure to use allocated funds as a major setback to national development. Dr. Alausa directed all institutions to submit reconciled reports of unutilized funds within the stipulated 30-day period, adding that any unspent funds would be redirected to priority projects, and also expressed concern over the large sums of money lying dormant in the central bank. Stressing that such negligence denies students access to improved learning facilities and hampers institutional growth. The Permanent Secretary of the Federal Ministry of Education, Abel Enitan, described the situation as a national emergency requiring collective action. Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors and the Nursing and Midwifery Council of Nigeria have reiterated calls for hospitals to treat gunshot victims immediately without requesting police reports. Both organizations issued a reminder during an interview in Abuja following recurring reports of hospitals neglecting gunshot victims in emergencies, adding that the Compulsory Treatment and Care for Victims of Gunshot Wounds Act, signed into law in 2017, mandates prompt treatment by all hospitals, public or private, without requiring police documentation. Section 7 of the Act states that any person or authority whose omission leads to unnecessary death of a gunshot victim may face 5 years imprisonment, a fine of 500,000, or both, while the Nigerian Police Force, in a circular dated October 25, 2023, directed all personnel to comply with the Act's provisions immediately, reiterating that no delay in treatment is permissible. National President of NARD, Dr. Mohammed Suleiman, condemns the refusal to treat victims as unacceptable, citing both the law and the Federal Ministry of Health's Directive on Emergency Care, stressing that some doctors might be unaware of the law, and NAD will continue to educate members regularly through continuing medical education programs on legal matters affecting medical practice, speaking on his experience. Suleiman applauded the ministry's effort to strengthen emergency response systems and reminded the public that the MDCN tribunal had powers equivalent to the federal high courts in disciplinary matters, adding that some nurses acted based on restrictive hospital policies, even though those policies might contradict federal government directives on emergency treatment. Coalition of Southeast Youth Leaders, a socio-political youth organization in the Southeast Geopolitical Zone, has expressed support for the immediate release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the proscribed indigenous people of Biafra. The group said it was ready to demonstrate peacefully as solidarity for the release of the embattled IPOB leader. This is coming after Sowore had urged Southeast governors, lawmakers, traditional rulers, and religious leaders to join the planned demonstration for Kanu's release after he had contacted several prominent Igbo leaders, including Anambra State Governor Professor Chukwuma Soludo, Abia State Governor Dr. Alex Oti, Senator Eyinaya Abaribe, and Labour Party's 2023 presidential candidate Peter Obi to join the movement. The activist also revealed that he reached out to Atiku through his team, adding that the former vice president's support would give significant weight to the campaign president general of the group, Goodluck Ibem, said it had announced its commitment to organizing a peaceful protest to demand Kanu's release from the Department of State Services detention, and also alleged that it was clear that there was a double standard in the approach of the federal government towards issues of national security and human rights. He also said while the country witnessed negotiations with known terrorists, kingpins from the north, individuals responsible for the loss of countless lives and the ruination of numerous communities, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu remained in detention. And to our business news, Nigerian Labour Congress President Comrade Joe Ajaero has called for a tax on the profits of technology giants and automated industries to fund comprehensive retraining and upskilling programs for workers facing displacement in the era of artificial intelligence. Speaking at the 2025 conference of the Labour Writers Association of Nigeria in Ibadan, Ajaero warned that while AI is often presented as a marker of efficiency and progress, it is being deployed by corporations to deepen worker exploitation, erode rights, and increase inequality. The NLT president described the rise of AI as the modern face of the class struggle, adding that workers risk being pushed into greater precarity as companies prioritize profit and caution AI would reshape labor relations in ways that weaken collective bargaining, undermine unionization, and create a digitally dispossessed underclass. Ajaero urged unions and policymakers to press for protective legislations and also reminded them of their duty to highlight the challenges facing workers, insisting that journalists were integral to the trade union movement and further criticized the use of the media to spread disinformation, while claiming attempts were made to blame workers instead of addressing breaches of the law. Ajaero said, unity remained the most powerful weapon against corporate and technical exploitation. Minister of Marine and Blue Economy Adeboyega Oyetola has reaffirmed Nigeria's strong commitments to strengthening maritime safety, environmental protection, and regional cooperation within the framework of the Abuja Memorandum of Understanding on Port State Control. A statement signed by the Special Advisor to the Minister on Media and Communications, Dr. Bolaji Akinola Oyetola, who stated this during the third Bureau of Ministers meeting of the Abuja MOU in Conakry, Republic of Guinea, said the former Osun State Governor underscored Nigeria's determination to align its maritime governance with international standards while advancing the collective interest of West and Central Africa in global shipping. He said Nigeria is one of the leading maritime nations in West Africa and a key member of the Abuja MOU and controls significant shipping activity in the Gulf of Guinea, which is one of the busiest and most strategic maritime corridors in Africa. He commended the government and people of the Republic of Guinea for their hospitality and for successfully hosting the 15th Port State Control, adding that the technical deliberations of the committee provided valuable insights into the challenges and opportunities in port state control across the region. He affirmed Nigeria's unwavering support for the objectives of the Abuja MOU while highlighting the concrete steps taken by Nigeria to improve its maritime administration, including the enforcement of port state control and the removal of substandard vessels from its waters. Oyetola called on all member states of the Abuja MOU to strengthen enforcement mechanisms within their respective jurisdictions and to support the institutional resilience of the Secretariat, and further cautioned against allowing the region to become a dumping ground for substandard vessels that could lead to accidents and incidents with far-reaching national, regional, and even global implications. New policy of the Central Bank of Nigeria on agent banking may push about 40% point-of-sale operators out of business. The national president of the Association of Mobile Money and Bank Agents of Nigeria, Fasasi Sharafaddin, said the recently released guidelines by the Apex Bank could cripple small-scale businesses and threaten the country's financial inclusion efforts. This is coming after the CBN released new operational guidelines for agents banking, capping the daily cumulative transactions per POS agent at 1.2 million naira under the new framework. All agent banking transactions must be conducted through a dedicated account or wallet maintained by the principal financial institution to ensure transparency and better oversight. The CBN warned that any agents found using non-designated accounts for operations would be in violation of the regulation and will face sanctions, and agents involved in misconduct or fraud will be blacklisted or have their agreements terminated. According to Sharafaddin, one of the most worrying aspects of the policy is the introduction of exclusivity, which restricts agents to operate under only one principal or service provider, adding that the move would not only reduce the income of POS agents, but also drive many out of business due to the loss of flexibility and customer trust that currently defines agency banking operations. As part of this year's Green Diplomacy Week, the European Union and the German Embassy in Abuja have declared the launch of the German-Nigerian Flare for Value project, a landmark initiative aimed at tackling gas flaring in Nigeria while unlocking new economic opportunities through gas optimization and greenhouse gas mitigation. Declaring the event open in Abuja, Christina Forwest, head of the German-Nigerian Hydrogen Office, said the initiative marks a significant milestone in the German-Nigerian partnership and our joint commitment to transforming environmental challenges into economic opportunities. A statement in Abuja on Sunday stated gas flaring reduction is not only a climate priority, but a gateway to energy access, industrial growth, and sustainable development for Nigeria, and reiterated the significance of emission reduction, while Johannes Lehen, Deputy Ambassador of the Republic of Germany in Nigeria, said the strategic significance of gas flaring reduction represents both an environmental imperative and an economic opportunity. The Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Petroleum Resources, Dr. Vitalis Obi, noted that the Flare for Value initiative underscores Nigeria's shared commitment to reducing emissions and unlocking the full potential of gas resources, adding that through partnerships such as this, Nigeria can transform flare gas into an engine for cleaner energy, industrial growth, and sustainable development. Representing the European Union delegation to Nigeria and ECOWAS, Godfrey Ogbemudia, Program Manager of Energy, Circular Economy and Climate Change, said reducing what goes into the atmosphere today is a responsibility for all to share, stressing that Nigeria's flare reduction efforts already yielding results. And now to our international tidbits. U.S. President Donald Trump and his Egyptian counterpart Abdel Fattah al-Sisi will on Monday chair a Gaza Peace Summit in Sharm el-Sheikh, together with world leaders, including the UN chief and leaders from more than 20 countries. Sisi's office said the peace talks will aim to end the war in the Gaza Strip and enhance efforts to achieve peace and stability in the Middle East and usher in a new era of regional security and stability. UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said he will attend, as will Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer, his Italian counterparts Giorgia Meloni and Pedro Sanchez of Spain, while French President Emmanuel Macron and Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan will also travel to Sharm el-Sheikh. Spokesperson said the European Council will be represented by its president, Antonio Costa, and the plan offers a real chance to build a just and sustainable peace, adding that the EU is fully committed to supporting the efforts and contributing to its implementation. And Jordan's King Abdullah II is also expected to attend. However, there was no immediate word on whether Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu would participate in the summit. Multi-Night Army Unit declared that it was taking control of all military forces in Madagascar as President Andry Rajoelina said an attempt to seize power illegally was underway. The CAPSAT contingent of administrative and technical officers joined thousands of protesters in the city center on Saturday in a major shift in a week more than 2-week anti-government protest movement. The unit had earlier declared that it would refuse orders to shoot and criticize the gendarmerie, who have been accused of using heavy-handed tactics against protesters, causing several deaths, while there was no immediate response from other units or the military command. Soldiers from the unit clashed with gendarmes outside the barracks on Saturday and rode into the city of armed vehicles to join the demonstrators, who welcomed them with jubilation and calls for Rajoelina to resign. The president released a statement Sunday saying an attempt to seize power illegally and by force, contrary to the constitution and to democratic principles, is currently underway. The CAPSAT unit said a soldier was also shot by gendarmes and died. Australian airline Qantas says data from 5.7 million customers stolen in a major cyber attack this year had been shared online, part of a leak affecting dozens of firms. Disney, Google, IKEA, Toyota, McDonald's, and fellow airlines Air France and KLM are also reported to have had data stolen in a cyber attack targeting software firm Salesforce, with the information now being held to ransom. Qantas confirmed in July that hackers had targeted one of its customer contact centers, breaching the computer system used by a third party now known to have been Salesforce, and secured access to sensitive information such as customer names, email address, phone numbers, and birthdays. The blue-chip Australian company said it also said it had obtained a legal injunction with the Supreme Court of New South Wales, where the firm is headquartered, to prevent the stolen data from being accessed, viewed, released, used, transmitted, or published. Cybersecurity analysts have linked the hack to individuals with ties to an alliance of cyber criminals called Scattered Lapsus Hunters, adding that hackers stole the sensitive data using a social engineering technique, referring to a tactic of manipulating victims by pretending to be a company representative or other trusted person. Nigerian-American couple Edward and Wendy Osefo were arrested for multiple charges in Maryland, the United States. Wendy, a reality show star, was charged with 16 counts, including 7 felonies, while her husband is facing 18 counts with 9 felonies. The Carroll County Sheriff's Office in Westminster, Maryland, said the couple allegedly made false theft claims of their property while they were on vacation in April 2024. In a release by the Sheriff's Office shared on Facebook, the Nigerians reported approximately 80 items of jewelry, luxury goods, clothing, and shoes were stolen, worth a total of more than $200,000. While investigations revealed that over $20,000 worth of the valuables reported stolen had been returned by the owners to the locations where the items were bought. She also works as an assistant professor at Johns Hopkins University, where she teaches public policy and community engagement, while Wendy's husband is a lawyer and works as a real estate attorney and general counsel in Washington, D.C. From Sunday, non-EU travelers entering Europe's Schengen open border zones will be photographed and fingerprinted at border crossings as the European Union rolls out its much-delayed automated border checks. The new system aims to eventually replace the manual stamp on passports and secure better information sharing between the bloc's 27 states, and the border check system will allow authorities to know when people entered and exited a country, with the goal of better detecting anyone overstaying and people refused entry. The member states will have until mid-April to use automated checks for all passengers at their borders, and UK authorities have already warned Britons that each passenger will have to wait a few extra minutes before they can enter Schengen territory. Checks were being carried out for passengers in Britain before they crossed the border, especially at London's St Pancras station, and the port of Dover and terminals had already been installed. The EU executive has said there will be information campaigns to streamline the implementation of the entry-exit system. And now to our sports news. Inter Miami captain Lionel Messi is currently the joint top leading soccer scorer in the Major League Soccer MLS. The Argentina forward netted a brace as Inter Miami defeated Atlanta United 4-0 in the MLS tie played in the early hours of Sunday, while his teammates Luis Suarez and Jordi Alba were also on the score sheet against the visitors. Messi now has 24 goals to his name alongside Los Angeles forward Dennis Bouanga, in the MLS. Behind Messi and Bouanga is Nashville's Sam Sturridge, who has 23 goals. Messi will now hope to lead Inter Miami to victory again when they face Nashville in their next game on October 18th. And now to our entertainment news. Nigerian singer Inyanya Onoyom Mbok, popularly known as Inyanya, has called for more empathy towards celebrities, reminding fans that fame does not exempt public figures from emotional struggles. In a post shared on X, formerly Twitter, he said the reflection was on the pressures of fame, describing the life of a celebrity as a double and expressed the need to understand that celebs are humans with deep feelings and struggles like everyone else. He also said male celebrities in particular often face even greater internal struggles due to societal expectations that discourage vulnerability. Inyanya's post has drawn attention from fans and colleagues who resonated with his message on the hidden emotional toll of fame and public life. Administrator of the estate of late Mrs. Esther Ibeto has dragged Jigida singer Uche Ibeto before a Lagos State High Court over unlawful possession of the deceased property. Uche is known for her popular hit album Jigida Dance in the 80s. Led by the administrator of the estate, Mrs. Laura Chinyelu Oko, in a suit filed through her counsel, Barrister E. Omojiade, dated October 2nd, 2025, the family accused Uche of unlawfully taking possession of cash valuables, property title documents, and rental income belonging to the estate after their mother's death. They also accused Uche of sponsoring defamatory publications in the media against members of the family. Specifically, the suit mentioned the publication dated September 9, 2025, where Uche accused Mrs. Oko of conniving, with a judicial officer to eject her from her home at 36 Ibezim Obianolu Street, Lagos, where she lived, and the administrator prayed the court for an order of the court for Uche, who is the sole defendant in the matter, to return all assets belonging to the estate, provide a full account of the estate's finances, and publish a retraction and apology for the defamatory statements. The plaintiff also asked the court to order monetary compensation of 10 million naira for defamation and 10 million naira for the cost of the legal action, and further prayed the court for an order for the defendant to account for 10,000 euros allegedly withdrawn from the deceased Barclays Bank account, and a perpetual injunction restraining the defendant from interfering with the estate or publishing further defamatory statements. In a statement of claim deposed to by the estate administrator, the claimant in the matter, Mrs. Oko, averred that the defendants, without lawful authority from the administrators of the estate, rented out various portions of the deceased property, including the boys' quarters, garages, and flats, and has converted rental income of more than 25 million to her personal use. No date has been fixed for the hearing of the case. Nigerian singer Tiwa Savage has revisited her long-standing rift with fellow artist Seyi Shei, clarifying her side of the story regarding the infamous salon confrontation that went viral years ago. Speaking during an interview, she said the misunderstanding between her and Seyi stemmed from a diss track and allegations that she had tried to block opportunities for other female artists. Tiwa, however, denied ever attempting to sabotage anyone's career, insisting that she has always been supportive to women in the industry, and was shocked when she first heard about the alleged diss and accusations that she had tried to block bags for other artists, including Seyi and Victoria Kimani. She further recalled how, contrary to the claims, she had lost a major endorsement deal to Seyi years back when she was pregnant with her son Jamil. The saloon altercation between both singers, which took place in 2021, became one of the most viral celebrity moments that year, after videos circulating showing Tiwa confronting Seyi over their strained relationship, while Seyi had previously said she had tried to make peace. While Tiwa's recent remarks suggest the tension between both artists may have stemmed from deeper industry misunderstandings and hearsay. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at the major stories. NO urges youths to strive for innovations in Akwa Ibom. Deputy Speaker demands workable constitution for Nigerians. ASU begins two-week warning strike Monday. Germany, EU unveil plan to tackle gas flaring in Nigeria. Trump, RCC to chair Gaza Peace Summit in Egypt. Messi leads goal-scoring charts. Inyanya demand empathy for celebrities. I am Francis Neka. Thank you for watching. You can follow us on our social media platforms on Twitter at Atlantic TV Net, Facebook and YouTube at Atlantic Television Network, on Instagram at Atlantic TV Network. And remember, peace and unity are the pathways to progress. Thank you for watching.